Hi, this is Jim Jubeck, and welcome to my Jubeck Asset Management video on YouTube. Today's video is Hot Money Moves Now, and Hot Money Moves Now by Equal Weight S&P Indexes. Okay, if you're concerned, as many people are, that maybe the run-up in big technology stocks is making them kind of volatile, maybe that's time to take a little money off the table. And that's a reasonable conclusion. I mean, for example, we had Palantir come out with its PLTR, coming out with earnings, and the report wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And great is really what you need from these big tech leaders now. So the stock dropped 15% on the day after earnings or after earnings. So if you don't want to do that, but you don't want to get out of the market, here's something I'd bring to your attention, that the S&P, as it is followed by most of the time, in those headlines, is a market cap weighted index. In other words, a stock like Nvidia with a market cap of a couple of trillion has a lot more weight in the index than, say, a stock with a market cap of only 500 billion. There's another version of the S&P index. It's called the equal weighted index, where you don't get weighting for market cap, and the weighted index, the one that has big exposure to the Nvidias, the Amazons, the whatever, has really been outperforming the equal weighted index, and that makes sense. What we've seen in the last month, 2 months, week, is that the performance of the two indexes has basically started to converge. And that's interesting for people who want to take some money out of big tech but stay in the market, because you can buy the equal weighted version of the S&P 500 and lower your exposure to those big stocks. So there's an ETF from Invesco called the Invesco S&P 500 Equal Weight ETF. Ticker is RSP. It's a very, very low expense ratio ETF, 0.2% expense ratio. Has a decent amount of assets under asset management, about 55 billion. Year to date, it's up 4.68% year to date for the Invesco Equal Weighted S&P ETF versus about 9.19 year to date for the market cap weighted Vanguard ETF, which is VOO. But what's happened, if you go back, so that's a pretty big difference. If you go 3 months, though, you're looking at about 4.2%, 4.3% return for the Invesco Equal Weighted S&P Index versus 4.19 for the Vanguard market cap weighted index. So basically equal. In the last week, for the first time in a long time, the equal weighted index, S&P index, outperformed the market cap weighted index. And 1 week doesn't make a trend. Well, it does if you're a journalist. We used to say, two data points, we can draw a trend. And of course you can. But anyway, but what I'm interested in is the fact that it looks like the returns here are coalescing or converging. So the equal weighted index was up about 2.05 in the last week. The market cap weighted index was up about it was actually down a little bit in the last week. So again, I think if you're looking for an alternative that lets you take some money out of big caps but stay in the market, think about adding, shifting, rearranging some of your exposure to the S&P and going from a market cap weighted S&P index or ETF like VOO of the Vanguard to a equal weighted S&P index like the Invesco RSP ETF. Okay, thanks very much for watching. If you found this useful, entertaining, whatever, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you get notification when we do our next one. We're doing about 3 a week, not always on the same day. And it's free. If you sign up, you get notification of when the next one goes up. Free also, my JubeckPicks.com site that's got 3 portfolios, 12 to 18 months, 5 years, and dividends, plus 1 or 2 posts a day, and that's free. Subscribe to my paid site, that's jubacam.com, and that's got 6 portfolios, so those 3 plus ETFs, volatility, so we do some options, not very many, but some, and really long-term, so stuff beyond 5 years for longer holding periods for investors, say in their 20s and 30s. And that tends to have like 2 to 3 posts a day. So that's a subscription site, so that's, pay to get that. Okay, so whichever version you want to use, just like to have you on board. You can find links to all those down below. You can also find my Substack. My wife and I moved to Italy in September 2023. It's been a long-term goal of ours to live in Italy for a while. So we're here probably 4 or 5 years. We started a Substack, which is also free, called We Moved to Italy. So you can follow our adventures, something about art, culture, architecture, music, lots of food stuff, lots of just life in Venice and elsewhere. And as I said, we're moving from Venice, where we've been from September until mid-May, going back to New York for a couple of weeks for my daughter's graduation. And when we come back, we'll be in Sicily for the summer months. So if you want to follow us along, or you were interested in something about Sicily, house we rented is on the slopes of Mount Etna, so you get some volcanoes maybe. Anyway, that's free, and you find links to those down below. Thanks very much for watching.